Morning, Phil. Sorry I'm a wee bit late. Some technical problems there getting into the stream, so I do apologise. Anyway, these a few minutes to get on board. Check, make sure you're in both platforms. Yep, you're in both platforms. Good morning, Dave. Morning, Lorna, Barbara, Robert. And here we go. Good morning, Rev of Wrestling. And morning, Hugh. A wee minute, let a few get on board. I'm back after my rest. I quite enjoyed the rest. Thank you very much. I need to schedule breaks now, folks, because I hit a wall a wee while back, writer's block. Couldn't write the script. So I've scheduled myself some breaks for this year to try and prevent that from happening. Anyway, seems to be a fair few years under on the stream news, so let's get this broadcast underway. Andy Truck, Davey out the truck now at home in his office in Salford, North Lanarkshire, where it's a beautiful morning, 19 degrees. That's the weather forecast for Salford, North Lanarkshire. You want to know what the weather's like where you are? Look at your own bloody Monday. All right, this is the review of the weekend's news for the 26th, 27th, and 28th of August 2022. Right, now, Friday started with just one major theme in the rags, energy price hike. The prediction is 80% plus price hike and by Sunday, the rags are full of people who are going to die. Right, as I say, the fallout of Friday and the rise in the energy price cap, that spans the weekend, and we'll talk more about it as we go through the weekend report. All right. Also Friday, right across the UK, but here in Scotland, SMEs or small and to medium-sized enterprises, to you and me, say that energy hikes will see them go out of business. Right, one small enterprise in Morden says might have to shut down their business. Now, the owner of Faisal's convenience store told the Edinburgh News that his energy provider had informed him that his energy costs will go from $5,000 a year on his old contract, wait you get this, to $70,000 a year. Now, the owner, Mr. Aslam Mohammed, said he may have to close his business or try and operate it without any lights. There you go, no chance. That will see theft right through the roof. He'll make a big, massive loss. So, could well be that Morden's going to lose its convenience store. And as we know, takeaways and bakeries are also talking about shutting. Now, small and medium-sized enterprises are the major employer across the UK. All right, so mass unemployment is coming. And this is amid a Tory corporate takeover. Take out the small players, asset strip, you're the only supplier. They are creating monopolies at our convenience and expense. And it's going to cost us our jobs. That's why when Davey goes to the supermarket, he doesn't use a self-checkout. They don't pay tax or pure profit. And they have you do the job that somebody else used to do. And of course, it's less social. There's less social interaction as well. That's bad for people's mental health. You go through the checkout, you have a wee chat with a checkout woman because she's probably from your community. All right, where are we? Aye. So whoever wins the race to number 10 is about to announce a transfer of more wealth from the people to the corporate giants. Now, this aid to the public will come in the form of more money given to the big six to discount people's bills. Basically, here's a dot of taxpayers' money to continue ripping them off. Okay, now they should of course legislate to limit the cost of energy, and if they can't and if the energy companies can't make a profit, then it should be taken back into public hands. Public utilities, which we all paid for, should never have been sold off. Thatcher's claims of better, cheaper, more efficient services was a lie. Look at what selling off water has done to England. Shite, poor quality, expensive water, with sewage treatment non-existent thanks to Brexit. They can't get the chemicals, so they're pumping shite right into their water courses, which means the leaky pipes can't be replenished from the water courses because they're full of shite. The people down that road are now seeing the fruits of Thatcher. They can't afford their energy bills, their water's killing them, and they're killing their water courses. Mental. Right, let's move on and see what other nonsense is in the news on Friday. Moving on Friday, here in Scotland, teachers are to be balloted for strike action. The right-wing press, who are leading the Tory class wars, say people standing up and saying enough is enough is causing chaos. Of course it's causing chaos, that's a bloody point. The Tories are shitting themselves. Really shitting themselves. And they're threatening to legislate to prevent lawful strike and people standing up and saying enough's enough. Time for redistribution. Time to rebuild this broken model. Anyway, if you throw in the Police Crimes Courts and Sentencing Act and the Civil Order Act that's about to be introduced, hit the floor of the Commons, the Tories are in a race to clamp down. They know civil unrest is coming. The shit show they have created will see real problems. We'll get there a wee bit further into the report. Right, moving on Friday, and the Tory Graph is reporting that a petition among Tory party members to save Big Dog Bojo the Clown's job is reaching the point where it might have to be considered by the party senior committee. All right, now according to the Tory Graph, if the petition reaches a certain amount, then the 1922 club, or the Tory hierarchy, the committee, the national executive, will have to put it out to a vote amongst Tory members whether Bojo goes or no. Right, now this is mental. This Bojo is more popular with the Tory base than both Truss and Sunak. So if the Tory members can get enough signatures on this petition to take it to the national executive of the Tory party, then they can force it out to a wider party vote on whether Bojo should stay as Prime Minister or not. Wow. Talk about banana monarchy. Talk about a democratic outrage. 160,000 people decide whether a despotic, egotistic, no user gets to stay as Prime Minister. Where's the democracy? Absolutely nuts. Anyway, that's the report on the Tory Graph. It could well see us have a position where we have a new party leader down that road for the Tories, and we've got Bojo basically sitting there as Prime Minister, or Bojo's moved already into the posh Chequers estate. Maybe Bojo intends to rule for there like a president and have a deputy Prime Minister sitting in number 10. All things are open at this point in time. You couldn't believe this stuff. Come back and have another look at the next episode of Soap, for Christ's sake. This is absolutely mental. Undermining the democracy in Scotland, undermining democracy in Northern Ireland, undermining democracy in England, ignoring democracy in Wales, who want to up the amount of members in the Senate, is absolutely mental. All right, and let's move on. Finally, for Friday, First Minister Nicola Sturgeon's in the firing line for flying to Denmark to open the new Scottish office. Right, the cuckoos and the nest cry foul and waste of money. The Danish Premier meets Nicola Sturgeon as a fellow head of state. That gets some knickers in the twist of unionists, doesn't it? The First Minister strides across the planet like a stateswoman, and this lot are all theatre. Anyway, the SNP Scottish Government has opened more than 70 Scotland offices across the globe, boosting Scotland's exports and creating jobs back here in Scotland. It has also raised Scotland's profile in the world. On the world stage, Nicola Sturgeon is very well respected and quoted, right? And that is worrying Westminster big style. So the cuckoos in the nest are screaming, foul, waste of money. But all these trade enclaves or Scotland offices that we've set up, I think we're up to 70. I think that was number 80, the one in Denmark there. They have actually brought in employment and opened up trade routes that wouldn't be available to us because the British Embassy funded their job in promoting Scotland as a country and Scottish goods. After all, you get British whiskey and British haggis apparently. Right, let's move on to Saturday. Moving on to Saturday. Saturday started with the fallout of the energy price that rises. It's pure comedy gold, by the way. The Tory rags are outraged and the SNP are smug as fuck. Right, energy to be a luxury, only to be afforded. Energy to be a luxury only the wealthy can afford, cries the Herald. Right, and the right-wing lonely rags. They promoted the situation that led to this fucking mess. And they screams energy hike to wipe out 6 million Tory voter savings. the Tory graph goes on. Middle classes need energy bill help. Hey, that scares the shite out of the Tories. The middle classes doing that road is their voter base, right? In England. But they're hung up on the class system doing that road. You know this stuff. I'm working class. I'm middle class. I'm upper class. I'm of the elite. You say like this. The way they all look up at each other. The working class looking up as if the middle class are better than them. The middle class looking up as if the the upper classes are better than them. And the upper classes looking at this new class, the elite, as if they're better than them. They're all tugging their fucking forelocks. They're mental. Absolutely mental. Absolutely. I've never quite got it myself. No. I've got a few friends that are basically millionaires, folks. No point kidding on it. You all probably have. We live in Scotland. You don't give a shite. The fact that the guy you're standing at the bar is a successful business owner and has a couple of million quid doesn't matter a fuck. You don't really care what he is, and he doesn't care that you're a truck driver or a soap assistant, whatever. As long as you're pals. Yeah, you be stone your horn. We're all Jock Thompson's bears. They're not doing there. He's segregating themselves into classes. Wow. Nut jobs. Anyway, the wackiest headline of them all was in the lonely right-wing rag, The Express, and it goes on. Boris pipeline of cash on way to ease bill pain. Bojo says they could see this coming down the line a mile off, right? So that's why they put in place a pipeline of cash. Now, they've taken the steps they've taken, and the public shouldn't forget that the pipeline of cash has been going through the whole of autumn to help people apparently, right? So let's break this one down, kiddies, because this one really cracked me up. All right. So let's break it down, shall we? Bojo says they could see it coming from a mile off. Of course they fucking could. They orchestrated that. It's been an ongoing programme since Cameron lost the vote on Brexit, so it was going to be a Brexit referendum. These fuckers orchestrated what's going on. Wow. But I have to agree, of course. Bojo's definitely seen it coming. He's definitely seen it coming, as I say, because they engineered it, all right. And what else? What's happening here, folks, is there's a massive transfer of wealth going on. It's been on for 12 years now, right? And that transfer of wealth is from the public into private hands. The question is why? Why now? And the answer is the UK is a dying failed state. Brexit was the death knell in the UK or Great Britain of the Union's coffin. The vultures are circling. The rich are asset stripping and running. They're consolidating wealth in small hands. In the meantime, they are stripping away the people of England's rights to protest, their civil liberties. They're even to make it possible to jail or send dissidents to Rwanda. Wow. Mental cases. They voted for it. But that's the press that fucking promoted that. And they're all screaming foul. when they're the ones that sold this fucking mess to the English people. Right, meanwhile, here in Scotland, the Pravda turned on the SNP, trying to convince the people of Scotland that this shite show is Holyrood's fault. SNP MPs are asked to appear in the Pravda to explain what the Scottish Government are going to do about it. This was funny, folks. That's what I mean by pure comedy gold. This was brilliant, so it was. Ian Blackford, he slaughtered the BBC, as did Dr. Philip Whitford. He slaughtered everybody. They were all out doing the rounds, you know. Anyway, what the Pravda try to do, they try to turn it on the Scottish Government and blame it on them, right? So, let's take the Ian Blackford interview with Naga Manchetti, if you like, for example. What's the Scottish Government going to do about it? Ian says nothing. It's reserved. Naga says, what's the Scottish Government going to do about it? And Ian's like, are you fucking daft? I just told you, it's reserved to Westminster. It's in the Scottish Parliament's hands. You see his face? You know, so Naga goes again and says, the First Minister says she'll offer practical help. And Blackford says, actually, well, you know, we're already giving people an extra 20 quid for their children. And Naga goes, oh, so you're just regurgitating all shite. And Ian's like, nah, no. It's an example of what we're doing. And then she comes back with, but I'm quoting the First Minister. She says she'll offer practical help. And Ian says, we are. We've had to drag another 140 million out of our fixed budget to get to the councils to try and raise wages to help deal with the inflation. But it's a reserved matter. It's out of our hands. Oh, and by the way, Scotland doesn't use gas or oil to power our country. We are 97% powered by renewables. And so I guess we're subsidising the people of England and their bills. And I guess this is another one of these wonderful union bonuses and an asset in energy-rich country, which is basically what I told them. And it was an own goal for the Pravda right across the media. It was fucking hilarious, as the people of Scotland are soaking up the information on the mainstream media that they weren't getting from the mainstream media. We don't use oil or gas to power our country. We've already transitioned away from that stuff. 97% of our energy comes from renewables, meaning solar, hydro, and wind. Tidal coming on stream as well. So this is pointed out. Dr. Philippa Whitford was even better at it. Man. She says this is that union dividend the Scottish people are supposed to be getting. We get to pay the highest energy bills in the whole of Europe when we are one of the biggest providers of energy to the whole of fucking Europe. Wow. And we're talking about oil, gas here. No electricity. But we also export electricity to England and to Northern Ireland. And we could export to other places if we'd control energy policy. We're producing that much yet. Wow. So, it was absolutely hilarious to watch on Saturday, okay? What was in for time, alright? But hey, you know, Ian Blackford's right. What we're doing up here is sticking plasters, you know. It's reserved, the budget's fixed, it's Westminster's job, right? Now, the SNP and Green government, and prior to the Greens getting into coalition, the SNP have done their very best to mitigate the worst of the shite coming up that road. We've been protected for the bedroom tax. We've got a more compassionate social security system. We have got benefits that they don't have down that road. You've heard me talk about them before. You know, we don't buy prescriptions of no road tolls, younger bus passes, no bus passes for the kids, Christ. You know, baby box, more early learning, a better health service, free dental for the kids, moving on to everybody with the end of this parliament, all that sort of stuff. You know, what's in the social contract. Okay, so we're getting scudded here. And our budget has been diminished because we're having to mitigate the worst of the shit down that road. As I was saying the other day there, you know, we're even paying for their infrastructure because they get to deem it as of national importance, whereas our infrastructure is seen as Mickey Mouse, fuck off. Well, by the way, we'll let you borrow $3 billion of your own money, but you're paying it back to us. $3 billion of your own money, we're going to pay it back. Fucking tax twice, that's called. Also Saturday, and the people of Northern Ireland are pissed off at Liz Truss, the idiot. All right, she tells the EU that if she becomes the next PM, they have 10 days to concede to give concessions on the Northern Ireland Protocol, or she'll scrap them. There's a trade war coming, kiddies. Right? Supermarket shortages are already here. Food price inflation is rampant. And major supermarkets are warning of problems importing. And they're also they're going to have to pass more additional costs to the customers because of rising energy and fuel costs. In other words, transport to move your grub around, the grub that they're finding it harder and harder to import. All right, so a winter of discontent, a winter of power shortages and food shortages. Wow, Christ, the news is cheery, is it not? Right. Now, the people of NI are also beginning to realise that their democracy doesn't count either. They voted a pro-protocol assembly, which is being kept closed by a unionist minority, which would see the people of Northern Ireland impoverished over some fundamental need to be British, not Irish. But the protocol's popular because Ireland's actually making money for a change, and it's embarrassing to Westminster. And they have an assembly, 53 out of the 90 MLAs think the protocol's a good idea. But once again, it's England stamping its feet like a fucking toddler and saying, we're not coming to the table, we're not playing the game, we want what we want and fuck the rest of the union. That's not a union. That's imperialism. Right, so Scottish and Northern Irish democracy and New English democracy is being ignored with the process of picking the next fucking muppet or the next ditty fascist dictator again to number 10. Right, also Saturday, Airhead Truss says she doesn't know if French President Macron is a friend or foe. Now, is anybody surprised at this? A foreign secretary who's no across her brief. She doesn't know that France is an ally. Fuck's sake, that's mental. France and the UK have been allies since before the Second World War. But you know what? They're a wee bit racist in that road, and they like to jib their neighbours, so the French are the fucking frogs. And the exceptionalists doing that road think they're better than them. Meanwhile, Macron comes back with, never mind whatever pissy leaders and charging around because they're just stupid. The French and the English people will always be friends. It was quite specific about that, actually. The French and the English people will always be friends. Right. Where we get? Right, let's move on to Sunday. Sunday won't take long, folks. It was doom fucking gloom and absolute hypocrisy. It's comedy gold. Shame I'm not a comedy writer. Give me a fucking minute out of this. Anyway, now the rags that sold this shit show by selling Brexit to the English people while they're elite wage class warfare on them. They're running about down that road screaming foul. They run down the NHS, increased poverty. They've killed the elderly and the less able and the poor. And they've crushed their civil liberties and their civil rights. And this was all aided and abetted by the mainstream media down that road, and of course the Looney Rags, which are all owned by Tories. So they've sold this pup to the English people, and they don't know what the fuck to do about it now. As the whole fucking world clams in. I was talking about in the early part and show how they're trying to legislate to clamp down on the people. They know what's coming. Anyway, these rags that orchestrated the situation down the road that got these people to vote against their own interests are now screaming foul. Fucking mental. They're screaming foul. Why are they screaming foul? Because they can't find their fucking leggy bills either. They went with the headlines. Let's go for Sunday's headlines. Rick Roarer. Okay. They will freeze, they will starve. There are the headlines doing the rounds. That was the Herald. They will freeze, they will starve. Well, you fucking promoted it, you bastards. You promoted staying in this union, and you're pro-Brexit and all your spanners. And the only right-wing rags down that road. Warning, we need more help, people will die, says Wazzox that voted for it. Mental. Absolutely mental. And this is all in the newspapers. The corrupt Tory newspaper barons that sold this shit to the public. Mental! Yeah. The Herald also reports, sorry, that man was a Scotsman. The Herald reports, right, yes, that apparently Scottish Power has handed out £7 billion in dividends over the last 14 years that has been owned by the Spanish power giant Iberdrola, or whatever it is. Iberdrola, sorry. So, what did they expect? You don't expect the fucking profits to stay in Scotland if the companies owned out with Scotland. The fuck? I don't know what that headline's all about. Try to demonise a Spanish company. Wow. Right, the National goes and how's the Tories put the lights out? And they just get through the whole fucking thing. The stuff we've just been talking about Brexit and all that madness. Right? The Mail tells us multi-millionaire Scottish Governor General takes taxpayers' money to pay his London home's lecky bill. So apparently multi-millionaire Alistair Jack gets his bill paid out the public first. Right, but who's surprised about that? That's why they've got fucking money. They don't pay for nothing, steal it. The Times is trying to frighten high earners in Scotland. What the Times is trying to say to high earners in Scotland is that the SNP and Green government are thinking about sticking your tax up for a couple of pennies. So it's time to flee, and high earners in Scotland are looking at the fucking idiots in England going, you mental. The social contract up here is brilliant. We don't pay for dentistry for our children. We don't pay for prescriptions. We've got a better NHS. You know, we don't pay for parking at hospitals. You know, we've got cheaper council tax. Our utilities are better and cheaper. And most importantly, high earners send their kids to fucking university. They don't pay university tuition fees. They get the baby. They got everything the rest is get. High earners are going nowhere because of the social contract that we have. Mental, absolutely mental. So the Times is trying to frighten Scottish high earners to flee to England. Fuck off. But they're going to have to drink sewage fucking water and pay exorbitant rates on their council tax and fuck knows what else. Hey, they're going to pay for the sewage water they're drinking down that road and all. And the other thing that the Times tells us is, what the Times tells us, I think that was a Tory graph, the Times tells us that Trust to consider scrapping 5% VAT on energy. It won't help much, will it? No, your energy price went up by 200 odd percent, she's going to take 5% off it. Shoot me now, bang. Half a state pension's going to fucking energy costs next year. What the poor old bugger's going to eat? Fuck all, that's right, there's genocide on. Right, and apparently, Moggy, who insisted everybody get back to the office, has conceded that everybody's not going back to the office. Now he's going to fucking sell the civil service buildings. Mere assets, stripping. Brilliant. Just clean up, stop smoking. I'm on a vape. Moving on, Sunday, back here in Scotland, public health experts warn over a health risk of bin strikes. I fucking spoke about this a fortnight ago, didn't I? The weather's been fine. There's shit all over the streets of Edinburgh, all orchestrated by the cuckoos in the nest, by the way, who could have made offers earlier. But it would appear that the Tory and Labour administrations are looking to create as much fucking chaos as they can. It's all come out on Sunday though, isn't it? Mental. Yeah, especially Edinburgh, where it turns out the Tories and Labour had an offer to make the people which would have been acceptable and just have to fucking made it. Anyway, public health experts are telling us that having shite lying on the streets is dangerous. Anyway, the cuckoos in the nest try to make this all the Scottish government. But the people of Scotland are no daft. They know we're on a fixed budget. We know that fixed budget's controlled out with Scotland. We know that fixed budget's shrinking. And it's the cuckoos in the nest, imperial masters, who are doing it. So, they're out there for photoshops at crowded bins and things like that and get heckled. With people going, when are you going to do it to your imperial master to demand more money for your workers, you bastards? Because that's who holds the purse strings. And when people are on strike here in Scotland, they're not looking at Holyrood. They're not even looking at the local executive, the local councils. They're looking straight at the same place that people in England and Wales are looking. They look at the state of Westminster saying, you fuckers control the budget. Right, so let's round up Sunday in a nutshell, will we? Doom, gloom, death and destruction. Welcome to Tory asset strip and Brexit, Britain. Hey. But on the bright side, they took back control. Did they know? They took back their borders, they took back control of their land, they took back control of their money. How's that working out, by the way, you fucking idiots that have been sold a pup? Oh, that's right, the pound's crashing. You know? The border looks like a fucking sieve. It's a smuggler's bastard in paradise. And civil unrest is on its way down that road. Took back control of fuck all. Wow. Anyway, that was a weekend summed up. Brilliant. Let's have a wee look and quickly run through what the papers have to say this morning. I hope you found the subjects I picked to talk about over the weekend interesting and informative, and I hope you enjoyed the delivery. So let's see what the paper's going to say. I haven't seen it, folks. You know, I don't like to see it before I get to this bit because I like my reaction to the headlines to be genuine. So the papers, hope for end of bin strike and winter blackout. So here we fucking go. The Looney Rag, the Express that promoted this pish says finally hopes rise for a deal to end bin strikes. All right. What else we got? The Herald, energy crisis could lead to power blackouts in the winter. Why? We don't get our fucking power for oil and gas. If there's blackouts, they're draining it out the Scottish system to get to the neighbours next door. Wow. The Daily Record has the cost of living crisis for $1 million winter chiller. Well, 1 in 4 families face not even turning on their heating due to rising bills. Working households are only 19 days from the breadline. Shocking new report reveals. Mere gloom. Hey, this is this wonderful fucking union that was sold to us and, of course, bought by the Scottish public in 2014. So I guess there is some similarities between the Scottish people and the English people. The English people, you know, they were stupid enough to vote for Brexit. The Scottish people were stupid enough to vote to stay in this fucking union. Difference is they're not going to relook at Brexit. We're definitely going to relook at fucking staying in this union. The Scotsman leads on. Truss and Sunak clash over looming energy bill crisis. They fuck. They've orchestrated it. They're not making a mint. And according to the Scotsman, bin strikes to resume before waste is collected. They haven't fucking stopped yet. And apparently music lessons in childhood aids the brain in later life. Oh, fucking shock, horror. Kids like music and it helps their development. What is this pish in our papers? The Eye has Truss under pressure to offer energy help for all. Let's get this, queer people. They're not offering help to no fucker. They're transferring taxpayers' money into failed companies to keep them afloat, or actually, they're making a killing so they'll keep them afloat. They're fucking just transferring wealth. Who owns the shares in the energy companies? Well, it was Maggie that sold them, and the only fuckers in the 80s that had any money to buy the shares were the Tory elite. Wow. The Times has half of Tory voters want energy to be nationalised. I bet you fucking do. This is starting to crunch the middle classes we were talking about earlier, and that's the Tory base. The Telegraph has PM don't give up on green energy. Fucking the intention of they're talking about reintroducing fracking for fuck's sake. Green energy, fuck all. They own the oil and gas giants. They're not going to fucking cut that revenue up to their purses. Oh. Okay. The Scottish Daily Field, the right-wing rag. Just take the Scottish bit out because it's an English paper. NHS pays $1,900 for one agency nurse staff. That's what happens when you take back control and everybody fucking flees because you're becoming a fascist state. You can't hire people, so they get to say how much they fucking want to work. Mental. The National has Labour at war over plans to ban working with SNP. Time for UK Labour to learn from successes of Welsh Party, not failures of Scottish Party, says Sarah Bember. What a pish. Labour are working with the SNP. Labour are the second cheek of the establishment arse. They are not a party of the people. They haven't been a party of the people since the fucking 70s. That's why we've been to people like Mick Lynch come to the fore, because there's no a fucking spine in the whole of the Labour Party. Let's look at Scottish Labour and its leader. Never mind Sir Comrade fucking Starmer. Anna Sarwar, poverty pipe for fuck's sake. Talk about blind Labour. Blind and fucking crippled zombie Labour. Champagne socialist who's on the picket line demanding that the state pays a decent wage, but that fucker won't pay his own workers a decent wage. Wow. Mental. Labour at war over plans to ban working with SNP. They're not working with the SNP. They're Brit Nats to their fucking shoes. What else we want? Right, let's see what the stars got to cheer us all up before we round this one up. Alright. And the star has drink bog water. Pew, this really stinks. Toilet to tap system planned. There you go. That was in the papers on Saturday as well. English to drink recycled wastewater. That's what happens when you fill your water up with shite. Okie dokie. Right, that's what I've got for you today, folks. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it informative. And I know it was a wee bit doom and gloomy, but I hope I was on form. I feel a wee bit better after the rest. I hope you enjoyed the show, right? Usual stuff. Believe it or not, people, there is a campaign on the way. And as I said yesterday about the claim of right thing. Oh no, there's one news bulletin in the day that I really need to cover. My partner in treason phoned me up with this one this morning. Wait to get this. Vote in East Lothian Council this morning. They voted down creating warm refuges for vulnerable people this winter. They also voted down costing it. Now it can be put back onto the council's books for a year. That means whatever happens, the people in East Lothian are getting no assistance for their council. And you know how David and I are banging on about councils at this point in time, and how they have some reserves. They can open up warm places for vulnerable people. Well, apparently East Lothian's just fucking voted it down. Just so you know, East Lothian's a Labour council. So much for party of the fucking people. Right, anyway, there is a campaign underway, folks, and we are being attacked. Devolution is being attacked. Now, I was talking about the claim of right yesterday. You did get to exercise your claim of right. Right up until 2014, there was an argument to say you didn't get to exercise your claim of right. But in 2014, you picked a form of governance that you wanted. That ratified the devolution situation that none of us had ever ratified, because in 1997, none of us got a say after the vote to say what devolution was going to be. That was done by the cuckoos in the nest. But when they talk about the claim of right, you've exercised it. You get to exercise it again. You get to exercise it every time you go to a ballot box. And that's because you ratified the form of governance that we have here in Scotland. You did it in 2014 when you had the choice of independence, one government, or union, devolution, and Westminster government. You made the choice in 2014. So all this pitch about claim of right, you got to understand what claim of right is. It's the right to choose a form of governance that suits you best. That's the claim of right. And we did that in 2014, and we'll do it again. That's what the argument this time's all about. But it must be done democratically. So you've been exercising your claim of right, and you will continue to exercise your claim of right. And you will get the opportunity to speak again on the choice of whether we do away with one form of governance and go down the independence route, or will we stick with two forms of governance, and that means the guy next door holding the power on the purse strings. All right, but there is a campaign underway. So partisan politics in your pockets, get your eyes on the prize. Get out there and win hearts and minds. Don't forget to learn how you're going to do borders, how you're going to do currency, how you're going to this. The answer's the same all the time, by the way, folks. It's how the fuck does anybody else do it? We're a smart, intelligent people. We'll copy and paste best practice from around the world. Okay, so there is a campaign underway. Get out there. We only have to change one heart and one mind. Let's get this job done, because there will be a referendum, or there will be a plebiscite election. The people of Scotland will have their say. Democracy will out. And as to the claim of right, you've exercised it. You'll exercise it again. In fact, you exercise it every time you go to a ballot box. I seen a post when I did that one last night, somebody saying, no, you picked the party of governance. But we ratified the form of governance in 2014. Up until then, we hadn't ratified the form of governance. We could claim that the claim of right was a magic bullet. But it's not new. We've exercised that claim of right. We've ratified the form of governance we have. Now what we want is another say on that form of governance. What the cuckoos and the nest are trying to do is limit the amount of times we can ask ourselves the question. But they know we're going to ask ourselves the question. Nothing can stop it. And I'm a Democrat to my bloody toes. I can assure you there is nothing to stop it. But all this stuff about claim of right, you're already, well, you know what? It was valid up until 2014 when we hadn't ratified and hadn't chose the form of government we had. But the referendum in 2014, we ratified and chose the form of governments we have. We chose devolution over independence, and we chose having two governments. People don't understand the claim of right. The claim of right is when you exercise your democratic right in this century. We will have our say. Democracy will out. Right, let's move on. Support the independent media. Support Broadcasting Scotland, support Independence Live, Indie Live Radio, Caledon Media, Trues Radio, the iScot magazine, the national newspaper, independent bloggers and bloggers. And if they've got a crowdfunder gone and you've got a couple of shekels to spare that you can throw in the pot, please do. These people do important work. As you know, we're not interested in money off you guys. We just want you to share the stuff around if you like what it is we do. Okay, health messaging. COVID's not gone away this summer at all. And it looks like it'll be back in a vengeance in the winter. So, face coverings and enclosed public spaces and clean hands and surfaces regularly. That's the two bits of guidance that's left. It's no law, it's guidance. It's up to you whether you follow them. All right? Now, if you're not feeling well, if you're feeling a wee bit under the weather, if you get sniffles, then mask up and social distance. Show a wee bit of social responsibility, especially around about the young and the elderly, because all of our immune systems are really low after being masked up for a couple of years. Slightest infections whacking us all like a sledgehammer. All right, so be considerate and take social responsibility for your health and your feeling about yourself. Okay, and if you're still testing the NHS tests, please submit your results. That way we can keep a better handle on how much is in the community. Now, it's good to be back, folks. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you found it entertaining, and I hope you found it informative. Thanks very much. You have a lovely day, and we'll be back today or again tomorrow. We're back. Bye now.